Hello, everybody. You're listening to the Big Chill Podcast. This is episode 826, For the Love of Merch. Hello, Big Chillians, and welcome back to the Big Chill Podcast. Frank Jones with Eddie. Eddie, how's it going? You look super bright and cheerful. Sun shining through the windows behind you.
Yeah, I'm being slightly drowned out, I think, by the window immediately back. So from a visual perspective, not ideal. But other than that, things are going well. I start things off with some good news. I know I often bring the negativity, but I was reading through Reddit today, and I got hit by a post which literally started good news. And I thought I had to read this. And it's that Scotty Scheffler spent $87,000 to save a restaurant from closing. The same one that gave him free meals during his high school years. Not only did the act of generosity save the restaurant, it also touched the owners' hearts when they received a new sign on the wall that reads, "Where I fed my dreams every morning."
I don't understand this. It's now hit Reddit. What I don't get is why is this being put out there? That's the first thing. Then the second thing is, why is it mixed sometimes with accounts that post real things? Because then it gets really tricky. Because as you know, I sent you something the other day from the site that usually posts fake stories, had posted like a real story. And it just really starts to fuck with you because the real stories sound more fake than the fake stories.
And this is why we're screwed. This is also why I just don't believe in AI in this. Look, there's some scary, terrifying things that AI is going to be capable of in the not too distant future. But this idea that AI is pretty stupid. And the dead internet theory, which is, that ultimately we'll just have bots interacting with each other and AI sourcing AI. And so nothing is real anymore. I think we're not far off that. And I think these fake athlete stories are a great example of the dead internet theory. And I guess the only reason people...
I love ChatGPT trying to ask Copilot Sam what to do.
Yes, in the future, that's all it will be. That's all this podcast will be. And the thing is I guess the reason why people do it is because one of two things happened. It's great for engagement because people who don't realize it's fake and who love these athletes will post saying, "This is why I've always loved Scotty Scheffler." And then there's also 30% of the posts which are, "This is fake. I saw the same story about Rory McIlroy yesterday." And ultimately the engagement is all that matters, right? Like no one cares really what you're saying.
But why does it matter?
Because it just makes it go
matter.
Because it just makes it go more viral. More people see it. More people follow the account. More people see their future content. So just you throw in some fake stuff so that your real stuff will still do kind of well.
It's so weird.
We should start doing
weird. Yeah, well,
just fake
maybe.
stories. Just start rumors.
Yeah. I can't imagine this is what our forefathers thought this country would become.
They couldn't predict everything, Frank.
They definitely couldn't.
It's a hill I'm willing to die on.
Ollie wink. Yeah, I mean, well, the other thing that really gets me too is I would understand if it's like their team putting out these stories, like these fake stories. We've actually talked about this, I think, more times than we probably ever thought we would. But the whole Blake Lively, other guy scandal where each team was putting out a bunch of fake stories about the other person to try and discredit them, that I could see, but that's not what it is. And if that's what Scotty Scheffler's team, if that's the best they can come up with, it's pretty bad. Hire us, Scheffler, because we can do better. I can make up a better fake story than that.
It's so wholesome though. And I just love, I need to treat all of these stories as being real. And then we need to do research into the link between free meals from restaurants when you're young and becoming an elite athlete. Because there is a strong correlation, it appears. If someone, if I do ever have a kid, I will make sure I find a local restaurant that is willing to give him free scrambled eggs every morning, because that will be the difference maker between him being a nobody and him being one of the best athletes in the world.
Yeah. Well, then it's funny too because then you hear the stories that are true, but then you start to question because have you ever heard like the Tez Johnson one that was being told a few times on was that Monday Night Football? They played, yeah, he's on the Lions, where he
Yeah.
stayed with Bo Nix's family throughout high school because his mother like knew that she wasn't going to be able to like care for him to have like a potential future, so she like let him go and let him stay with. But it just happened to be Bo Nix's family because Bo Nix's dad was their high school football coach, and like you hear that
Blindsided him.
story. Yeah, you hear that story, and it's like, oh, this is coming from that fake news account. And it's like, no, it's not, because he didn't go back and give them $72,000, 300, because to pay them back for all those lunches
And
and
you
dinners they
have
made.
to make a sign. Every
Yeah,
time
the
you got to
sign.
make a sign. If you, and yeah, like I
The
saw the
real
other
best
day,
parents I ever had.
and I didn't even look into this, if this is real or not. So this may be me feeding, sort of
Uh-oh.
putting,
You
but
got a real fake one?
well, Aiden Hutchinson supposedly paid off the student loan debt of everyone from his graduating class at Michigan State. This is what it
Get
felt
out of
fake.
here.
It felt fake to me because that would be an astronomical sum of money. Like, I know Aiden Hutchinson's making good money now, but he's not making enough money to pay off an entire graduating class's student loan debt.
Well, it's about, I would assume Michigan State probably is like 10,000 people, because that's what Penn State was, like 40,000 combined. So you're looking at like 10,000,
Yeah. Let's say
10,000
not
at
on
average.
let's say not all of them have student loan debt. So let's
Okay,
knock
so
it down. Let's
let's
go
say 5,000.
5,000 with student loan debt.
And how much student loan debt do they have? Because Michigan State's probably, let's say if we combine in-state and out-of-state, you're probably looking at about 30,000 a year.
Say, let's just say nice neat average 100,000 average across those people. So that's
100,000 they have combined.
yeah,
That's $500 million.
generous.
Why couldn't you do Penn State too?
Amazing, dear. Oh well.
But actually, that one is real.
Just he's put himself in massive debt. The reason why I knew it was fake, though, I threw that out there, but I knew it was fake because the quote was something like, "Student loan debt is modern day slavery." I was like, "There's no way." Even if he was generous about paying it off, there's no way that's the quote he put into the public domain.
Is that the sign he put up?
Yes,
He put that up
above.
in the registrar's office at Michigan State.
It's the sign that the Michigan State football players now tap when they walk out onto the field. Like the one at Lambeau Field.
Oh, that's funny. Before we get on to sports, I have a little quick non-sports topic I want to ask. So, as you know, I'm a fan of merch. Like if we go to a place like a brewery or a restaurant, they got nice merch, I'll buy a t-shirt. I'm always in search of good merch. You as well. I mean, you went to Arizona and came back with a whole suitcase worth of new clothes and hats and things like that. What is the timeline, do you think, for which you can buy merch for something that you are like an active participant in? It's hard to describe. So like the one I'm thinking about now is I go to a barber, and it's obviously for me a new barber. It's only the second time I've gone there, and they have a nice t-shirt. How many times do I have to like support that business before I wear that shirt and be like, yeah, that's my barber shop? Because it feels weird if the first time you go in and buy a t-shirt and then someone's like, oh, hey, you go to Twin City Barbers? Oh yeah, that's my barber shop. Been there once. Do I have to put in like a good year before I can really walk around with it?
I can't imagine buying a barbershop t-shirt, so we got to start with that. As
You
much
bought
as
a
I
coffee
love,
shop t-shirt.
yeah, but that's different.
It's not
Restaurants,
really that different. You don't even drink coffee. That's even worse. I've caught you on that one pretty bad.
all I bought was a t-shirt. Restaurants, bars, breweries, I think that's different. You can go experience it once, buy the t-shirt, wear it, no problem. And then the story just is, I went there, it was cool, and I like this t-shirt, and that's fine. I think like a
Barbershops
barbershop.
now, they're kind of like tattoo shops though, in a way.
I know.
That they kind of have like their outreach or social media. So like a tattoo shop, same thing. You get like a tiny little heart tattoo, are you okay to buy that? Like, and be like, yeah, that's my tattoo shop, or do you have to get some serious work done?
See, and I know I may be in the minority on this. I can't imagine like getting my hair cut and then buying a T-shirt.
I think, you know what? I'm going to bring you to this place. I think you're going to buy the T-shirt because it's
The
one
T-shirt
you
might
would
be
really,
awesome.
really like.
Okay,
It's really
maybe,
nice.
but I just can't imagine it because yeah, it just feels weird because then it starts. That to me feels then where does the merch stop? Like, do I go to my dentist and the dentist has great swag and I start buying dental T-shirts?
Hey, good merch is good merch, Eddie. Don't doesn't matter where it comes from.
Like when I got my gallbladder taken out, if the surgeon post-surgery goes like, hey, by the way, follow the link, check out my T-shirts. They're really good. Have a new set just dropping. I think you'll love them.
If like imagine your T-shirt was like no new gallbladder, who dis? That's like the back of your T-shirt. That'd be awesome. Yeah,
Yeah,
no,
that's
I mean, well, think about it. Like even now, what's super popular is like Buc-ee's and Wawa. They all have like a dedicated merch arm of their store where you can buy like Buc-ee's hats and weird shirts and stuff.
see,
And
I
that's
hate
literally a gas station.
I hate that though, because a lot of that is people buying it ironically and also sometimes buying stuff that they know is ugly. Like Bucky's, they sell like the pants that you can wear that just has the Bucky's logo all over it.
Yeah.
People are just wearing it's either dumb college students who are wearing it because it's funny for something, or it's someone just wanting to be a little too hipster and wear it ironically. You know, it's like, oh yeah, look at me, I'm wearing my 7-Eleven socks today. It's like,
Oh, but I think
why?
people love Buc-ee's. I think you're underestimating the love
No, I
that
know
people
people
have for
do,
Buc-ee's.
but that still doesn't mean that they want the merch.
They want to
I
support
did,
Buc-ee's.
as much as I do love a little bit of merch, I was just on a trip. I bought some merch while I was on the trip. We got to draw a line in the sand as to who is allowed to provide merch. It cannot be everyone. Like what? Next time I get in an Uber, the driver's going to have a couple T-shirts hanging up in the passenger seat that he suggests I take a look at.
Well, if they're not Uber, that would be illegal. You can only sell Uber T-shirts in an Uber ride.
Why? Because he might drive for both Lyft, Uber. Gives you some choices.
Oh, he could do both. That's it. Yeah.
I don't know. It's weird to me.
But I think you're wrong.
Convince me when I get there. See if you can sell me on a shirt.
Now I'm gonna have to wear it. Now I'm gonna have to go buy it and wear it every day.
You're say, that's a stupid T-shirt.
You're like, that's a cool T-shirt. I know you'll like it because it slightly reminds me of the one you bought at a coffee shop where you don't drink coffee.
I get asked about that T-shirt a lot because no one ever knows what it is.
And do they say, why are coffee shops selling T-shirts?
No one's ever asked me that. Maybe they should. All right, shifting on to sport. Why don't we start with the Giants and one of the biggest meltdowns in the history of the NFL?
God. I'm done with this, man. I've purged my mind of this game already.
This is the tough thing. We're recording on a Wednesday for listeners. Like typically we'll record Monday or Tuesday when it comes to the sort of post-weekend sport breakdown. Wednesday is a little unusual, so we are pretty removed. So part of the struggle here is a lot of the almost reminding myself what happened at the weekend. Didn't have to remind myself too much about the Broncos scoring 33 points in the fourth quarter, having not scored in the first three quarters. That was a very specific statistic that I saw. You love these types, which is that's the most points ever scored by a team in the fourth quarter when they've been shut out in the first three quarters.
Yeah.
Doesn't surprise me.
Or how about the statistic that teams had won 1,602 consecutive games when leading by 18 points or more with 6 minutes or less in the fourth quarter. 1,600 consecutive wins.
That actually surprises me. Like, you know what I mean?
What, 18 plus points with 6 minutes left? That means you're up 3 scores. Three scores with 6 minutes.
Yeah, but it's always misleading, right? Because I would imagine there too, they probably cut that off right before the Broncos were about to score. You know what I mean? Because that's what they always love to do with those timings. They'll be like, they were up 24 points with 9 minutes left. It's like, yeah, but it was first and goal from the 1. So you've tried to make this is a slightly misleading statistic. But yeah, I don't know, because if you're just about to score, so if you then make it and obviously the Broncos did go for 2. and were successful. So it's a 10-point game then with 6 minutes left. It doesn't feel that weird that that doesn't happen. I'm not expecting it to happen every week, but every 5 years that a team blows a lead like that.
Only the Giants, man. Only the Giants. Yeah. Well, the Giants ended up doing what everyone requested after that game, though. They did go out and fire someone. They fired the kicker. Not Dayball, but they fired the kicker.
I mean, to miss 2 extra points is
Well, what the other thing people don't talk about as well is not only did he miss 2 extra points, and this obviously isn't on him, but it kind of is. They then went for 2 on, I think, the second touchdown to try and get back to being up 14-0 and missed that as well. So he kind of missed 3 extra points because had he not missed the first one, they don't go for 2. So really, he is the cause for 3 points that he fucked up on.
Yeah, no, that's fair. And that's the difference. And again, we always love to discuss. You can't do, if in the second quarter we'd scored this because it would have changed. But actually, in that scenario, the Broncos couldn't have done a lot more because they started going for 2 and maximized their point potential in most of those instances. So there's not a lot more that the Broncos could have done. So, and certainly, obviously, the extra point that he missed right at the end, it would have gone to overtime had he not missed that. Like there's no chance the Broncos were going to find a way to score a touchdown in the scenario that they found themselves in.
No. Yeah, it should have been 21-0, not 19-0 or whatever it was, or 18, whatever it was. Yeah, it was super bad. I mean, Dayball's just, I don't like him, and I know I like everyone likes to be negative, and you have to fire the coach. You have to fire the coach, and I think my dad almost had a heart attack saying that he had to fire the coach after I talked to that game. And like, I understand it. And a lot of times I will defend coaches like Franklin, like I'll still defend him, but he is just so annoying to watch. Like, it's one thing if Scattaboo and Dart are like 21-year-old kids and they're super energetic and they're running around and high-fiving and doing whatever and headbutting. But when you see the coach on the sidelines that's acting worse than them, like running up and down and screaming and huffing and puffing, and then you look on the other side and you see Sean Payton just kind of like stoic and standing there and talking to people normally, like, it really puts it into perspective. Like, this guy is a fucking, I'm going to use for a long term, this guy's a fucking clown. Like, he does not know what it means to be a head coach. And it shows, like, and not even in just that. I went back and looked because now, like, I start getting angry and I start looking at things to rip into him about. He is so bad on penalties that are like coaching related penalties. So things like delay of games where like he's just not getting the play in quick enough, or he's just not coaching in practice. Like, hey, like, you have to get a play at this certain amount of time. Last year, they had 10 delay of games. That was tied for 30th in the league. So pretty much the worst team in the league with delay of game penalties. This year, they already have 6 delay of games, worse than the NFL delay of games. Other penalties like illegal shifts, they were worse than the NFL last year. False starts, offside, things that you can actually coach. Like things like pass interference, whatever, that's a little different. You can kind of coach that, but at the end of the day, that's kind of the player making that decision or not. But like those pre-snap things that can be corrected, they're the worst in the NFL at those types of penalties. And it hasn't improved. Like 23, 24, 25, they rank in like the bottom 5. He is just not a good head coach. Like, he is just another child out there and can't control himself. And it shows because then he can't control his fucking players. Like, that's an embarrassing loss.
Pretty scathing review, but you're obviously touching on his composure and the way he handled himself. What did you make of the little drama that's come out of Sean Payton's post-game comments where he said
he's not wrong?
Yeah, I don't really get what the controversy is
either.
here. So for those unfamiliar, he said that the Giants had found a little spark when they switched to Dart and replaced Wilson, and then said, I was talking to John Mara, who's the owner of the Giants, not too long ago, and I said, we were hoping that change would have happened long after our game. And Russell Wilson hit out at this and said, classless but not surprised. Didn't realize you were still bounty hunting 15 plus years later through the media. To me, that's just everyone has commented on the fact that the Giants offense has looked far more dynamic since the change has been made. And even we spoke about, when was the timing going to be kind of coming into this when it
Yeah.
was clear that Wilson was a dead man walking was, when do you want to release Dart where he has the best chance to succeed? Why shouldn't because if anything, yes, you can take it as a slight on Wilson. And given the fact that, Wilson was just in Denver with Sean Payton, they didn't have a great relationship. That's the easy way to go. The other way is it's a big compliment to a rookie
Yeah.
quarterback. Like,
And he didn't yeah, I agree with you. And he didn't actively say, and maybe he did mean it, but he didn't say, I'm wishing that would have happened after because I'd rather face Wilson because he's worse. Like that's not what was said. It was, I wish that happened later. And you can take that as meaning, I wish it happened later because Dart happens to be a really good quarterback that is tough to defend. Like it could also just be that simple where now you have a quarterback that's a dual threat and it's a lot tougher to defend a dual threat that you don't have any tape on, and you never know what's really going to happen yet, than someone that you have a lot of experience knowing what they can and can't do.
yeah. And also a positive for Jackson Dart. That's a bad loss, and he contributed to that with a really bad interception at a crucial moment in time. And,
That pick was bad.
yeah, terrible. One of the worst that you're going to see all season. So you also say, as one of the more experienced coaches in the NFL, it's maybe a nice thing to single out that quarterback and say something positive, even when they were a big part of the Giants blowing that lead in the fourth quarter. It's not like he came out and said, man, I wish Russell Wilson had still been starting. We could have scored 0 points in the first 4 quarters and we still would have won. That would have been a jibe. But ultimately you can look at that as a glass half empty or glass half full comment. It's probably a little bit of both. And there is obviously some bad blood between them, but and we also don't know what he
And
got asked. He may
yeah,
have been asked, like, do you think that the Giants have found a good quarterback in Jackson Dart?
yeah,
Is his
yeah,
response? Is his response to that supposed to be, he is a good quarterback, as is Russell Wilson. I like both of them. They would both be
yeah,
excellent.
yeah, yeah. And then on the other side too, though, like this to me shows more about Russell Wilson than it does Sean Payton, because that's the classic. I really don't have a comeback for you, so I'm going to bring up some random thing that doesn't have anything to actually do with what we're arguing about, but I'm just going to bring that up because I'm a loser and I can't think of a really good comeback. Like like still bounty hunting. What does that even mean? How is he bounty hunting you? Is he bounty hunting your shit career at the end of your career? Like that has nothing to do. You just said the word bounty hunting because that's the only like
It's the
snipe you can
big,
give on
it's the big
Sean Payton.
controversy in his
Yeah,
career.
but it
Yeah.
has nothing to do with what he said. So it's like it's such a bad comeback, and it just shows me everything about Russell Wilson because he's a fucking dork.
And it can then be contrasted to someone who did come out and was highly publicly critical of a quarterback, which is the Jets owner, Woody Johnson, who came out and said, it's hard when you have a quarterback with the rating that we've got. If you look at any head coach with a quarterback like that, you're going to see similar results. If we can just complete a pass, it would look good. That's going to feel great as Justin Fields.
Hey, he's not wrong.
But you can't say it. The owner. You know what? The head coach can maybe say that. I still think you shouldn't. But if the head coach wants to try and make that point, but the owner's got to be. What I love about this is we had all this huge backlash to the Colts owner just being on the sidelines and holding a play sheet and putting a headset on. That was
Yeah.
incorrect because she's a woman. Meanwhile, Woody Johnson can come out and just throw a quarterback under the bus. And that's fine because he's an old guy.
Yeah, that was pretty bad. Yeah, I don't know what the Jets are doing. I'm still happier to be a Giants fan than a Jets fan at the end of the day, even though that loss literally hurt my soul a little bit. But yeah, the Jets are just from top to bottom in that organization. At least Mara is a good owner.
Yeah. Yeah. But no, I mean, good for the Broncos, I guess. Keeps their divisional hopes, more alive.
Yeah.
things would
The
allow.
Broncos are quickly becoming the new Pittsburgh Steelers for me.
Oh yeah,
Because I watched that game and in no way did I think the Broncos were any good. Not at all. Like nothing about Bo Nix impresses me at all. Like I think they are an extremely overrated 5-2. Like very overrated. I cannot wait for the first round of the playoffs to bet against them.
the crazy thing about them being 5-2, and okay, this was a lucky win, but they could and maybe should be 6-1 because of that ending against the Colts with the leverage
Yeah.
penalty.
Yep.
So you're really looking at a team that could have the best record in football. And I do agree with you. Whilst I was sort of high on them coming into the season, I don't think their defense is great. Although their defense did consistently get pressure on Jackson Dart throughout that game, and probably Jackson Dart rode his luck for large parts. Could have thrown some more interceptions than he did, but the defense still wouldn't say is top tier. And yeah, Jackson Dart is
No.
definitely having a
Bo
regression this
Nix.
season. Bo Nix, sorry. And Jackson Dart too.
Yeah, regression from his first game.
Yeah.
Came out with a win. It's been downhill since.
Pretty much.
Welcome to the New York Giants, Jackson Dart.
Other notable things from the weekend?
Actually, well, the
go
thing
ahead.
that I want to say also on the Giants is, so we talked about it off podcast, where like I don't care ultimately that they lose that game, because again, I don't think they'll make the playoffs this year. They've already lost too many stupid games that they should have won. And I don't really want them to make the playoffs. I'd rather them have a productive season building some of these younger players and the young talent, get some decent draft picks, and then next year, I legitimately think next year they can be a playoff contending team. Like, I don't think they're that far off. What worries me is losses like that and continued losses like that. Like, I mean, this is not very different. I mean, obviously it is, but it's not very different from the loss to the Cowboys, where they literally had the Cowboys in that game dead to rights and let them go to overtime and then lost in the overtime. Like, it's not very dissimilar to that. You keep having games like that and you're literally going to start losing that locker room, and people won't want to play for them. They're going to demand trades. People are going to get agitated at each other. And that's what worries me, is like, you have a pretty good core here. Don't let the core go away. And already there's reports coming out that when they went back to the locker room, I think it was like Brian Burns. I'm just saying this, I don't know for sure. It was either him or someone else, just went off on how terrible the defensive coordinator is, and like how they can't imagine that this person is actually calling the plays, because that was like the worst called fourth quarter defensive game they've ever seen. Like, that's what worries me, is you start getting things like that, and the next thing you know, Brian Burns, who's leading the NFL in sacks and is probably top 5 for defensive player of the year right now, is like requesting a trade and he's gone. Like that's the downside of losses like this for a team like the Giants.
Yeah. The only thing I would say to that a little bit to any player is slow your roll a bit. You're still just playing for a bad Giants team. Like let's not go out here and be too highly critical of individual parts in a bad fourth quarter performance, because ultimately the fact that you were in that position to start with was kind of a surprise. Because you could go this both ways. Like, yeah, you could be really critical of the defensive coordinator for how he called the fourth quarter. Let's give him some credit for how he called the first 3 quarters and shutting out the Broncos.
Yeah.
I mean, like, he could say, oh, would you have preferred it if we just, like, the Broncos had scored 30 points over just evenly spaced out, 7 to 10 points a quarter? Would that have been better? Would you be patting me on the back then for a good performance? Like, sorry, you guys got tired and couldn't hold up at altitude when
Well, I wasn't
not,
that. I kind of agree though. Like the play calling on both ends got super conservative, like crazy conservative at the end there. And that does piss me off a lot. Like, you play to win games. Like, that's another knock on Dayball. He always plays not to lose. And like, you don't win. Like, Andy Reid doesn't play not to lose. Andy Reid plays to win. And as you can see, the Kansas City Chiefs, they're back to winning.
Hey, I predicted them to win this week. There can be no quotes coming out. No,
I got no
no.
quotes.
I only got 2 games wrong this weekend with my predictions. I was pretty.
Yeah, only one favorite didn't win this week. It was a good week to bet on the favorites for sure. Unfortunately, that is not what happened for me. So, and what's really shitty is looking back. Like, I looked at all the games and everyone who won, and I was just like,
Yeah,
"Where
I
did
can
I
see that.
not bet these games? Like, I don't even know which one I got wrong. I can't even get it."
Well, that was what surprised me a little bit when you messaged me on Monday and you're like, "I'm happy you won some money," but I was like, "How did you not win money? Like,
I don't know. I still don't know. I don't know
how
what I
did you
lost. I don't want to look at
contrive?
it.
How
I
did
don't
you
even want to look.
contrive?" Like, anyway, the other thing you should have bet on was big running back performances, because that's one of the other stories of this week. You had Jahmyr Gibbs, 136 rushing yards and 82 receiving yards for the Lions. Christian McCaffrey, 114 rushing yards, 87
Yeah.
receiving yards for the 49ers. And then also
Judkins,
uh,
right? Didn't Judkins have a huge game for the Browns?
Judkins had a big game. Jonathan Taylor had 3 rushing touchdowns for the
He's an
Colts.
animal. The Colts, man. The Colts, they're a fucking powerhouse.
That also means he's the first player in Colts franchise history to have at least 3 games with 3 or more rushing touchdowns in a single season, and he's pulled that off before halfway through the season.
It's crazy. Yeah, it's impressive. It's
And yeah,
very impressive.
Judkins for the Browns had 3 rushing touchdowns.
Yeah, he had a really good game too. Yeah, and so that was another point I kind of wanted to discuss. We can discuss this quickly, but Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery are the Sonic and Knuckles, the tag team duo for the Lions, and it works really well. You know what I mean? Like, their offense is obviously humming and clicking, and it's phenomenal. But I think it's kind of clear that one running back is better than the other, and almost to the point that one running back has a little bit of major superstar potential. In that Jahmyr Gibbs, you watch him when he plays, and obviously the comparison with him being in Detroit is a little Barry Sanders-esque, where he's smaller, super quick, can maneuver, and then once he's in open space, he's gone. And I don't fully disagree with that. Like, he is kind of special to watch in times when he kind of gets going. And that game, some of those runs he had were insane. Like that one where he just gets to open field, he's just gone. Like, no stopping him. Do you think? Now, obviously, he's come out and he loves David Montgomery. They're like best friends. Do you think, though, that there's some animosity there where he doesn't get to be the full star, in the sense that his stats right now, he would be leading the league in everything if David Montgomery wasn't a 1B running back? Like, David Montgomery himself, I think, has 5 touchdowns and I think another 300-ish yards. Like, you add that to Gibbs, and he's leading the league in everything right now. And we're talking about him as offensive player of the year.
Yeah, I mean, maybe, but then the conversation is also, do you break down at a certain point?
Yeah,
Is
agreed.
your and are you able to be more explosive and more dynamic because you don't have the same workload? And we do consistently see with a lot of running backs is they just get ground down, even within a single season, but certainly over a period of time. And so maybe there is a certain thought there. I'm sure there's moments when it's first and goal from the 2, and he probably thinks to himself, I could get that carry. Like, you could give me the cheap touchdown now and I'm not getting it. And that wouldn't impact my kind of workload for the season. But then there's probably lots of other times where he's happy to not be the one having the ball handed off to him on 3rd and 3, when he knows he's just going to get absolutely obliterated at the line of scrimmage. And he instead gets to come in, next play on 1st and 10 and get a 20-yard run as a result. So maybe, but you would imagine that probably they both seem really happy. So I'm sure there's a certain appreciation there that they're each only able to do what they do because the other one is taking some of the slack.
Yeah, and I kind of agree with that too. I mean, I think this does potentially expand the lifespan of both running backs by doing that. And I give the Lions a lot of credit too. we end up watching a lot of Lions games because they're on prime time. So I don't know if this is always the case, but for the most part, when you watch it, it's each person gets a series, which I find kind of nice, where at least it's not Jahmyr Gibbs gets the ball, has 4 rushes, drives down the field, gets tired, comes off. Montgomery comes in and takes the touchdown away, or something like that, or even vice versa. They're pretty consistent, the Lions, in the fact that, like, this is your series. If it goes to the 2 and Gibbs is in, like, we'll still keep Gibbs in and you get your chance. Like, this is your drive, your chance, kind of thing. So I think that's also really nice too. There must be some kind of clear boundaries there. And I'm sure even at the end of the day, in a big game, they would be okay with it if Campbell was like, hey, we got to put Montgomery in because he's the bigger back. We're going up the middle. Like, we need him to bust through. Like, I don't think Gibbs is going to be pissed, but I think at least in the regular season, when stats kind of still do matter for a player, right? Like, that's how you make your money at the end of the day, how you get your contracts. I think it's nice that they're pretty consistent with how they treat them. So, and it works, right? So you can't deny that it's not working for the Lions. So it, yeah, it's good. I just wonder sometimes at the end of the day, what your legacy. Is it better to have like those 4 or 5 amazing years, or have 8 or 9 consistently good years? Like, does this get him into the Hall of Fame if he does this for another 7 years? Versus Barkley, who will have a shorter lifespan, but will probably be in the Hall of Fame.
The Super Bowl is the thing, right? I mean, if the Lions don't win a Super Bowl, is he a Hall of Famer? Probably not. If the Lions win a Super Bowl during his prime era, then he probably is a Hall of Famer. But, Saquon's definitely been pushed over the edge by the Super Bowl that he won last season. I think if he just eked things out with the Giants for another 6 or 7 years, sure, the Giants would put his name, in the Ring of Honor or whatever, but I don't know if he would have been a Hall of Famer. So that's kind of the unknown here.
Any other takeaways from this week in the NFL?
Well,
do you have any takes on the Hawkinson catch controversy, comparing it to the Kelsey one that was a catch and then the Hawkinson that wasn't a catch?
I don't think either of them are catches.
I think the Hawkinson one was. Like, his hand looks like it's under the whole way. What I'll say is I can't see a view where I can see definitively that the ball is touching the ground and moving and his hand isn't underneath it. That's not to say that's not the case, but in the views you can see, it all looks like his hand is underneath and that his hand's hitting the ground and that's kind of moving the ball. Versus the Kelsey, you clearly see the ball
Kelsey
hit
one
the ground.
Is not a catch.
Like,
The Hawkinson one, I think, by the way the rules are typically interpreted nowadays, I don't have a huge issue with it not being called a catch. The problem is, coming a week after the Kelsey catch being ruled a catch, it's a terrible look for the NFL. And we always speak, the one thing you need from officiating is consistency. And that's a prime example of inconsistency that also then favors a team that everyone feels like the NFL consistently favors, and kind of ties into the storyline now of the Chiefs are back because they're getting nice calls. Like, oh, another 0 penalty yard for the game for the Chiefs, and some catches that weren't catches. I don't know if you did see Scott Hansen really weighed in over the weekend on a topic that is close to my heart, which is the tiptoe rule and the fact that it's interpreted differently whether you're going out backwards or forwards. And he got a huge backlash from people online. He sort of came out with this comment on Twitter of, I don't really fully understand. It was a college football play, but I don't fully understand why someone's heel landing after their toes had already got in, if you're going backwards, is not a catch, but if you're doing it forwards, is a catch. And I have to be honest with you, no one is ever going to be able to explain to me why that makes sense. It just doesn't to me.
Yeah, it's weird. I did see the controversy on that one, but it's some of the nuances of these rules are weird. I mean, we should do an episode where we talk about like what rule changes we'd like to see happen the most.
That's a good idea. I co-sign that idea. But the thing I don't get, which is Scott Hansen consistently said it, is people said, well, it's just about the direction. And he was just repeatedly say, show me in the rules where it says that. And this is just an interpretation that we have allowed officiating to take. but there's actually nothing in the rules that specifically differentiates between when your heel counts for a catch and when it doesn't. And we've just agreed going forward, you can toe drag and your heel first makes contact out of bounds, doesn't matter. If you're catching a ball going backwards, that heel better land in bounds. Otherwise, it's not a catch. It's just very strange.
Yeah. I'll tell you what another weird one to me was in the Bucks game. Yeah, the Bucks game, when the Bucks were down and they were driving, they had like there was like 6 minutes left, 5 minutes left, late in the fourth quarter, and they had a 4th and 8 or something like that, and they threw to Ott, the tight end, and Ott reached out to try and make the line, and then fumbles afterwards, and they called it a first down on the field, and then the Lions challenged it and said that he fumbled it, and then they reversed it and said, or then they went to the booth and said it wasn't a fumble, but we're looking to see now if the spot was correct, which is fine with me. They then went and said that he was short of the line to gain, so they reversed the call on the field. And when you see the camera view, it looks like he is maybe just short of the line, but the camera view wasn't a straight camera view. It was an angled camera view. And it blows my mind that they like allow that, or that no one even explains that. Because yeah, from the angle, he did look just short. And by just short, I mean a like a nickel, a quarter, like very, very short. And you can't tell me that you can definitively say that was short when you're looking at an angled view. And if you just turn that 4 degrees the other way, that then he doesn't make up that distance. Like, and it's even crazy that there isn't just a straight on view, because those fucking first down markers have cameras. And in the picture, you can see the first down marker. You can see the camera on it. So they clearly could have looked at that camera to see, and they never show that camera angle. It was like, I don't, with all the technology they have, it's still crazy to me that you don't get all the camera views, and that they make decisions on gain or loss of first downs based off of angled views.
Hey, at least the fact that the first down marker that was on the screen in that Giants Broncos game, at least that didn't somehow come into play, because he had that 4th and 19 down the stretch that the Giants managed to convert. And the line on the screen, he was way short of it, but the first down marker was visibly behind
Yeah.
where the screen was. But that just shows you the ways in which there's some inconsistencies in the, like how things are being done. But yeah. Other notable statistic from the weekend, don't know if you saw, but Drake May broke a Tom Brady record.
He's
So
breaking all sorts of Tom Brady records
Drake May
lately.
broke Tom Brady's franchise completion percentage record, completing 91.3% of his passes, 21 for 23.
He almost set the NFL record too. He was on pace to break the NFL record, and then lost it, I think, literally on like his second to last throw.
Brady's record best ever game was 88.5%, which is 23 for 26. The one thing I will say is Brady's game was undoubtedly way better than Drake May's. So both against Jacksonville, surprisingly enough, but not both against Jacksonville. Sorry, I mixed up who was playing. But Brady threw for 267 yards and had 4 touchdowns, whereas May threw for 222 yards with 2 touchdowns. It's not, one was efficient and sort of game manager-esque, and the other is a little bit more of a dominant performance. And you love ratings. So Drake May's got a rating of 135.9, whereas Tom Brady's got a rating of 149.
Yeah, May is having an amazing season. For me, he has 2 things going against him. One, they haven't played many good teams yet. So right now this season, they've played Las Vegas, Miami, Pittsburgh, Carolina, Buffalo, New Orleans, and Tennessee. You could argue the Buffalo game was a great win, and it was. I mean, just the Patriots beating Buffalo again was great for New England. But Buffalo hasn't looked that great. and their defense in particular hasn't looked that great. So while that's a good win, I don't know if that's beating a top-notch defense. And I mean, the Raiders, terrible defense. Miami, I think, is statistically worse in the NFL. Maybe Dallas is, but Pittsburgh not having a good defensive year. Carolina, not good. New Orleans, not great. Tennessee, they also could be bottom three as well. So it is great, and like I'm super happy for Drake May. He's definitely improved a lot from last year, but I think people need to be a little cautious that he's had a really nice run of games here, and not to make him the next Tom Brady just because he beat some Tom Brady completion statistic. The other thing he has going against him is Bill Simmons is fucking insufferable about Drake May, and I've never wanted to watch someone fail so hard to piss off someone else so much. So that also, I think he definitely has going against him. And I think maybe he should give Bill Simmons a text message and tell him to slow down on the praise a little bit.
It's okay. Bill Simmons has a new thing, a new gripe, which is he doesn't understand winning percentages mid-game, doesn't believe in them. That was his big takeaway from the Broncos-Giants game. And I kind of understand what he means. In some sports, as you know, I don't. Like in cricket, the WinViz technology, I never really get. But the thing that bothers me in cricket with the WinViz is that the winning percentage is so out of sync with betting odds. And realistically, all you really need is for a win percentage. And I think in the NFL, they are super heavily correlated. Like you can look when a team has an 80% chance of winning and then look at the odds, and they're pretty much in line with that. WinViz, sometimes in cricket, you'll look at it and you'll go, it's a 50-50 game according to the win predictor. And then you look at the betting odds, you're like, one of these teams is 1 to 10 to win. Like they are the heavy favorite. Like, and so I get kind of where he's coming from, but ultimately, I think win predictors, like it's significant when a team has a 99.8% chance of winning a game and blows it. That doesn't mean something. Any other takeaways from the weekend, the NFL games?
Well, we only have 2 one-loss teams left, Eddie. And as everyone predicted, it is the Green Bay Packers and the Indianapolis Colts.
Yeah,
Which one of those do you think has a better chance to make the Super Bowl?
It's tough because I think we might have predicted the Packers coming into the season.
Well, we did.
No, but I mean,
might have.
I mean to have one loss at this stage. I think the Colts are better than the Packers.
So do we think that was a legitimate test for the Colts? Because obviously this is another team like the Patriots that they are slightly flattered by their schedule. And you could argue that the only playoff team no, because they played the Broncos and they beat the Broncos, right? So the only other playoff team that they've beaten is played is the Rams, and they lost to the Rams. So the one good team they've played, they've lost to, but they've also played the Broncos. So I guess like 1-1 in good games. And the Chargers, I guess, if you want to give the Chargers a potential playoff team, maybe
so let's ignore playoff, because playoffs and good teams are not always the same things. I will say they've played one good team, which is the Rams. The Rams are firmly in the good category, and they lost. And the Chargers and the Broncos, to me, are in the not quite good. They're sort of, if we broke the NFL down into tiers, I think Broncos and Chargers are tier 3, which is
how many tiers?
6, maybe.
Oh, that's a lot. That's a multi-tiered cake, Eddie.
I think there's extremely good, okay, bad, really bad, absolutely terrible. I think off the top of my head, those would be the tiers. And I would put the Broncos and the Chargers in that third tier, where they're going to lose to some teams in the tiers below them, and I wouldn't be surprised. And they may occasionally beat teams in the tiers above them, and I wouldn't be totally surprised. Whereas I think if you go into tier 2, where I put the Rams, I'm surprised when they lose to a team in a tier below them.
Okay.
And tier 1 is like, I'm surprised whenever they lose, almost, unless it's to another tier 1 team. And I'm not sure we have any tier 1 teams this season.
No, I don't think we do.
Like I legitimately can't be surprised when someone loses. That's almost regardless of who they lose to.
Yeah.
But certainly I can't be surprised when a team loses to anyone I put in the top 20 teams in the league.
I mean, I still think, even though they have 2 losses, the Lions might be the only tier 1 team. They're the only real team that I think is, when they're on, they're almost unbeatable. Because the argument with the Packers is I've never seen them fully on. I think that's the problem with the Packers is they don't seem to ever fully click on both sides of the ball. And the offense, I've never seen that offense yet just as good as the Lions is when it's
No,
fully going.
and we've not really seen them just demolish a team, which we've seen from the Lions a few times this season, where the
Is
game
it
is
the
just
Eagles?
over. No,
When they're
I think
on,
it's
are they unbeatable?
no, because just the way they play, they're just their
Yeah.
style. They're grinding you down. I think the Lions, when they're on, are unbeatable. Maybe the
Okay.
49ers, but who knows? We'll never know because we'll never see them on because they'll never be able to have a healthy version of themselves out on the field.
The Chiefs?
No chance.
I cannot wait for another Chiefs Super Bowl. It's going to be so good.
I can't wait for the Chiefs to make the Super Bowl again and for me able to claim that they're going to lose by 20 points and for them to lose by 20 points again. That's going to be it. It's all worth it.
Now, as a non-biased NFC West supporter, Eddie, who is the best team in the NFC West, which right now is probably the best division in football? The Niners are 5-2, the Seahawks are 5-2, the Rams are 5-2, and the Cardinals are bottom feeders at 2-5.
It's the Rams.
You think?
Yeah. I think the Niners are rallying around, and I think as their offensive weapons come back, they're going to be a hard team to beat. And I think they're going to do a good job of beating teams that are worse than them, which I think the game against the Falcons was a good example of.
Yeah, they're good at that.
But yeah, I don't
Because you
give
know
the
why? Because Shanahan doesn't play not to lose. He plays to win. So when he plays a shit team, he just goes to fucking go in and beat the shit out of them.
He still has some weird calls. I know I was messaging you during that game and that one third down call he had or fourth where he just let's give it to Juszczyk. You know, like we're going to run the ball and
Hey, you pay him $15 million a year. He's the most overrated contract in the NFL. You got to give him the ball.
no, he doesn't get 15 million a year now. They had that reworking of his deal, but
yeah, okay, sure. They just gave it all to his wife to make clothes.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, no, I think they'll be good. The Rams are better than them, though. I think the Niners could beat the Rams, as we've already seen this season. But I think even later in the season they could. I don't think the Niners have no chance against the Lions, for example, when they're on. Like if that's a playoff game, I'm all over the Lions. Whereas the Rams would at least make me think, like, oh, maybe their defense will show up and Puka Nacua will be super explosive and like Stafford will throw for 350 yards and they'll be able to keep pace with them. The Niners have no chance of that. They need to beat you in a 20-17 game where they can control the pace.
Multiple turnovers.
They need a little bit of luck.
Yeah. They get like 2-3 turnovers on defense.
Yeah. And sure, it will get better. And Mac Jones has been good.
Is there a quarterback controversy in San Fran? No. Not at all. I heard Trey Lance is coming back.
Yeah, to tie their shoes. No.
Oh, speaking of which, have you watched the rest of what's the stupid show?
No. Chad Powers?
Chad Powers. Fuck. I forgot about Chad Powers.
I haven't watched the latest episode yet.
Damn, I got to go back and watch me some Chad Powers. I forgot all about him.
It's a shame. Did you see that clip of Justin Jefferson? I think maybe I sent it to you of him pretending to be the photographer, which is, like the big.
Yeah. That's season 2.
His is at least funny. Like him calling out the GM. He at least that was genuinely, I don't think the GM knew. Whereas most of like when Eli Manning did the Chad Powers thing at Penn State, I think everyone knew that it was Eli Manning. Whereas, because no matter what, he did not look like a 26-year-old guy, even with the prosthetics on.
No.
Whereas the Justin Jefferson one with his hat and stuff, and he's kind of talking about birds, it was pretty funny. Like, and he, and I think he legitimately, and when he called out the GM for wearing shorts with his blazer, like comments like that, I think he actually got him there.
Yeah, that was pretty good. Yeah, no, that was funny. I can't wait for that to be season 2.
It's going to be great.
Any
And
other NFL takeaways then?
I don't think so. I think that's pretty much it. Premier League wise, back to, European football was back, threw up a few surprises, both in the Premier League and elsewhere. PSG lost, which was surprising in Ligue 1. Bayern Munich keep rolling. Harry Kane keeps scoring. They just look like an
Thromping.
unstoppable
Thromping.
force in the Bundesliga. Celtic lost in the Scottish Premier League, which is always a surprise. But in the Premier League itself, Manchester City do look like they might be kind of getting back. Arsenal grinding out those
Arsenal
wins.
Arsenal have what, a 3-point lead now?
Yeah.
How
And
quickly
Liverpool,
the turntables turn, Eddie.
Liverpool, the wheels have come off. They lost
Off.
2-1 to
They lost to
Manchester
some
United.
like bottom feeder. Oh yeah, that was it. Manchester United.
Yeah. I mean, just unrecognizable from the team that they were a month ago. Even though, yes, at the time they were riding their luck with late winners, but they still looked good throughout that period. Now they just do not look good at all.
It is crazy. I mean, how bad of a locker room personality must Isak be?
And meanwhile,
That's
his
my
replacement,
takeaway here. What the fuck does he do in that locker room?
meanwhile, his replacement at Newcastle is just scoring goals every week. They must feel
Yeah.
like that's the best deal that they didn't want to make.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah. No, I mean, and at some point there's going to be legitimate. Arnie Slot had, everyone rushing to praise him last season, but at a certain moment in time, having spent 500 million pounds in the summer, there is going to be a little bit of pressure mount on him if things continue to be this bad. I mean, if they don't pick up, they need a win tonight in the Champions League, not because the situation in the Champions League dictates that they need it, but because
No,
otherwise it's just too many losses coming in a row. It would be what
it's well here. It's
five losses in a row in all competitions.
Yeah, so they started off the season with 7 straight wins and have now subsequently lost their last 4 matches. So this would be loss 5 if they were to lose today. That is pretty astounding.
Yep. Astounding, not good.
A-
It's
and astounding in the sense that okay, the Chelsea loss, Chelsea are a very tough club. United, maybe they can be a tough club at times, but I still think that's a match you have to win. Galatasaray and Crystal Palace, not so great on the losses there. And you can't lose all of those together.
yeah, I think that's the biggest thing. I think if you just look in isolation, you said, oh, they went away and lost to Galatasaray. That's I won't say understandable, but it's okay. And then, yes, you lose to Crystal Palace, who are performing well this season. That's also okay. But when you put all of those losses in together, it's a really bad look.
And the other
Eh,
thing too is, I mean, so we talked about with a lot of the. I mean, you kind of go back and look at this a little bit now in a bigger context. A lot of their wins were very lucky last minute wins where they get the win and you see that green W on the screen. But then when you really think about it, like they were lucky to have gotten those 3 points. And now you go back and you kind of see like, yeah, they really were because they're not playing super well. I mean, even the matches they lose, it's not as if they are doing what City did 3-4 years ago when they would lose a match and you look back and say like they had 37 shots on goal and just could not get a fucking goal that match. Like that's just a very unfortunate loss. They were clearly the better team. Team X parked the bus and just put all 11 in the box and prayed for a draw. That's not what's happening here. They are not outplaying their opponents when they're losing. They are
oh no, they're
losing
being
because they're
outplayed.
because they're being
Oh, yeah.
outplayed and they're losing. Yeah.
And they were even in instances early in the season being outplayed, but finding ways to win, which, when everything's happening, you go, oh, that's the sign of a good team. Even when you're not at your best, you find a way. And now they're not at their best and they're finding ways to lose because the script is also flipped, where not only are they not scoring those last minute winners, they're now conceding last minute losers, so it's even worse. And yeah, it's genuinely difficult. Again, try not to overreact. But a month ago, it was let's prepare ourselves for Liverpool kind of winning this Premier League at a canter. And now it's hard to see how they win the Premier League, because it does feel like it will take a little bit of time for them to right that ship, and that they are up against a couple of teams who are going to be pretty consistent over the remainder of the season. Like they are not it's not a 2-horse title race, and they can't afford to keep slipping up in the ways that they are. And it's difficult to imagine that over the remainder of the season that they won't slip up more. In a sense, they're in the position where I now feel about Liverpool how I felt about Manchester City after a month of the season, which is I just don't see how they suddenly run off 7 wins in a row. And I don't see how they go a period of 15 matches without 2 or 3 defeats.
Yeah. And I think on on the other side, you have Arsenal and City, who are both really catching form. And Arsenal 3 points up very, very early, obviously, but have already played Liverpool and City once. So I think that is a nice position to be in, where, 2 huge matches where you could drop a lot of points. They've already played those, So I don't know, Eddie. I think we could be in for another good year of some Arsenal rants here later down the road.
Maybe. We'll see.
Did you also see, speaking of City catching form, have you seen the Golden Boot race right now?
In terms of the odds, you mean?
No, in terms of Erling Haaland is leading, obviously, the Golden Boot race, and he has just as many goals as number 2 and 3 do combined.
Yeah. No, he's
crazy.
Scored again in the Champions League last night. He seems to be kind of back to his best. So that's a good sign for City, and City are getting healthier. So a lot of the question marks that surrounded them at the beginning of the season, they seem to have addressed. And that's why I don't want to overreact too much to what we're seeing from Liverpool, because City are a prime example this season of how quickly things can go from looking pretty bleak to pretty good. And, Liverpool could definitely, a month from now, we could be talking about how Liverpool have won 6 matches in a row and look unstoppable again. And, all of those players they brought in look like superstars and £500 million well spent. But that's certainly not the.
We could talk about in the January transfer window, they've spent another 500 million.
Maybe. Now, switching pace to another sport that we don't speak about very often, baseball.
Oh, yeah.
Which, we very rarely speak about at all. But we're heading into the World Series. The LA Dodgers, trying to repeat their World Series, defend their championship, look kind of like an unstoppable force. They swept their series. Shohei Ohtani put in one of the greatest performances in the history of baseball.
Unreal.
Hitting 3 home runs and pitching, I think, 6.1 innings with 10 strikeouts.
10 strikeouts, no runs, 2 hits. I don't ever really talk baseball, but even that, was astonishing to me. I was texting people about that. Just it is so unreal that someone can do that in the modern day baseball era, to be that dominant of a pitching performance, and then not only hit 3 home runs, absolutely rip the cover off the ball. I still think one of those home runs hasn't landed yet. They're still waiting for it to come down. Those were absolute bombs.
But I thought we could talk about baseball by me sort of making you happy with some very niche statistics. You love the specific stat.
Okay.
And I've got
Is this heading into the World Series?
I got one coming out.
Or are these just random baseball stats?
No.
Do you know why it's called the World Series? Is that the first one you're going to give me?
So one is the Mariners, who lost in Game 7 to the Maple Leafs, the Blue Jays.
Holy shit, the Maple Leafs.
And in doing so, they became the first team ever to lose a 7-game series after winning the first 2 games on the road. So they were 2 up in the series, having won 2 road games, and then lost the series. That's an interesting one, but it's not that interesting, and nor can we use that to our advantage moving forward. However, this is the 5th time in history that the World Series will see one team that won in 7 games play against another team that won in 4 heading into it. In all 4 previous instances, the team that won in 7 games won the World Series.
I love it. I love it.
So that happened in
Perseverance. We call that the
1990.
perseverance stat.
Yeah. So that happened in 1988, 2006, 2007, and 2012. So put it
So
all
we're
on
all
the,
in on the Jays.
yes,
All in on the Toronto Maple Leafs.
yes, to win, to win the FA Cup.
Wow, that's a pretty good stat.
It's not bad.
I like that. I like that a lot. I'm gonna use that.
Wow. You're just going to throw it in conversation regularly?
Yeah. Yeah. I'll wait
Well,
for someone to mention baseball and I'm gonna mention it.
it, it'll be more usable if, say, the Blue Jays win game one. Then that becomes a really useful stat to throw out there. But I have to say, it seems hard. It does feel like the Dodgers will dominate that series just because they are just something of an
Stats don't lie,
unstoppable.
Eddie.
The only thing coming into the playoffs that people labeled as being a potential weakness was their bullpen, and they seem to have addressed that. Plus, I don't know how much your bullpen matters if you're up by 10 runs. You know, like you kind of remove the pressure off the relief pitching then. But yeah, it feels like, and I feel sorry for Ohtani because it's unfortunate for him that he's come around in a time that baseball doesn't get as much attention as it has in the past. And I do also think, I mean, he's huge in Japan. He's, you know, it's easy to say, oh, he's not as big of a star as he should be, but he's absolutely, he's a superstar there. But if he were American, he would be getting more attention than he does get, even though he gets a huge amount. But the conversation would be even bigger if he weren't Shohei Ohtani.
Yeah. I mean that performance alone wasn't talked about enough. Like how insane of a feat that was. But I mean, I thought you were gonna say it's tough for Shohei Ohtani because he's gonna take the Dodgers to win the World Series, but the statistics are gonna go against his betting odds, so he's not gonna get much value there.
Allegedly.
His agent.
Allegedly. No,
His
it was
agent's about to lose a lot of money.
It was his translator.
Translator. Yeah. Now it's his agent. He had to move on to a new bookie.
Any other sports related topics to discuss?
That's really all I've got.
Unfortunately, because of my travel at the weekend.
Oh my God. Are you fucking kidding me? You're going to tell me you haven't watched the season fucking finale of Task?
I have not. That will have to be discussed next episode.
Why don't we wait 3 more years till season 2 comes out? We can discuss it.
You've made me do this before, so don't even try now.
Oh my God. Yeah, but not on a show like Task.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yes. No, I have not seen it. No Chad Powers, no Task.
God.
So.
Unbelievable.
Sorry. I do have some travel stories. I did have the joy yesterday of sitting next to on a train. It's 2 grandparents with 2 children, one of whom did not shut up for 3 hours. It was wonderful.
The child didn't shut up?
The child did not shut
up. Or the
up.
grandparent. I don't know what's worse.
The child is definitely worse.
Hey, I've got a good one for you. Speaking of that, I know how much you love the Kansas City Chiefs and Mahomes and Kelsey in particular. They have opened up a new steakhouse. Have you seen this? 1587.
This is Mahomes and Kelsey, yeah.
Kelsey. I've opened up a new steakhouse. No children under the age of 16 after 7 p.m. allowed in the restaurant, Eddie.
Love it.
Adults only restaurant.
Love it. That might be changing my mind on Mahomes and Kelsey.
I saw that and instantly thought of you. And for a second here, I almost just did a Mahomes voice to try and say that I don't like kids either, but I decided against it. Yeah. Any other good travel stories? I know you've been traveling a lot lately.
Yeah, I did like the D-Day sites and a little bit of northern France. It was good. No, nothing too eventful from a travel perspective, but
I saw your pictures. I think if they just took all of the old stuff off those beaches, they'd be really nice beaches to go hang out on.
It is the tough thing, actually, with most of the beaches that you go to. There's just nothing there that indicates that it was the site of horrific fighting. So I do think there's that expectation that you're going to go to this beach and see remnants of, oh my God, this is where it happened.
Oh, there's still some stuff there, though.
Not at most of them.
No,
Most of them, it's just a beach.
but
You
are
can go
people
else.
on the beaches then, or like you still like is it still like a
Yeah,
faux
it's
pas
just
to like be like
no. You see
sunbathing
people.
on the beach?
It's November, well, October, but no, you see people just on the beach normally. There's people walking their dogs on Omaha Beach.
Which one's the nude beach? Is that Omaha or Normandy?
It can be any of the beaches that you want.
Did you see anyone taking like inappropriate pictures?
No, it is funny to see people. There were a lot of Asian tourists, and they were just posing for pictures in spots. And they do like full on photo shoots when they're posing for those photos. And it is a little bit of a weird combination of someone posing in front of like a bunker and sort of going overboard with their try and get me and make it look as if this was, just a snapshot of me walking by the bunker.
Yeah,
And it's like, yeah, someone died there, Like there is a little bit of a
not
strange.
someone, many.
Yes. It is a little bit of a strange thing that someone the worst moment of quite a few people's lives were right there, and you're just like, yeah.
Yeah, I know it is. It's really strange. It is like that's what's really weird to me, and that's like part of like the thing with the sunbathing aspect of it too, or just like people being on the beach where it's like you're enjoying yourself, having a good day on this beach that is known to be a beach that many people had. I mean,
But
countries
Frank,
had bad days
that's what they died for. They died so that you can go and sunbathe nude on Omaha Beach.
on their remains.
Yeah. As Tom Hanks was dying on that bridge, that's what he was thinking about.
Oh, what a sad movie.
Just just firing his pistol off at that tank. Those were the thoughts running through his mind.
All for that fucking Matt Damon. Any good food stories or anything?
Had some very good food. Ate at one restaurant in particular that was really excellent, but nothing humorous or podcast worthy. But yeah, some good meals.
What a shame, Eddie. I thought you had some good travel
Sorry.
stories for us.
No, I'm sure they'll be coming. They'll be coming. Don't worry. The next week, a 2-week trip starts with lots of flights, different hotels, different stays. So I'm sure something will emerge from those.
Have you been upgraded to first class yet for your flight to the States?
No, there's no chance I get an upgrade.
Have you called and said, listen, I had a friend who had a first class ticket. He unfortunately had to cancel because he had his gallbladder removed. Sadder part of the story, he then died at the operating table, and his last wish to the
Okay,
surgeon was that I take his first class ticket.
No, but that could have been the real move. If he'd been a real friend, he would have said, "Hey guys, I won't cancel my ticket. And you and like I'll do a digital check-in. And then
And then
one
you
of you
be me.
and then one of you can sit there. Like give me a couple
Yeah.
$100 to offset the loss and one of you can sit there."
I mean, does he book his tickets with full refund? Because otherwise he got nothing out of the cancellation, right?
He said that he could get refunded, yeah.
Oh, I think
He
he's
said
lying.
this.
I think he did this out of spite. He knows that's what he could have done, and he'd rather eat the cost than give you the benefit, which I love. I appreciate that. You don't deserve that first class benefit.
Yeah, I mean, look, I know he might do that because it's like when he told us that he could give me Air France Platinum status, that he could gift that to me. And I said, "Oh, I'll take that if it's going." And he laughed, and then he's never done it. So he has this gift of platinum status, which would be useful in this instance with the travel. But
Hey, I
he
think
just
I can give you status too.
well, then why don't you?
That's okay.
But yeah, we had this conversation sitting in California last year,
Oh,
and
that's so funny.
he chuckled at it and was, "Nope, that ain't happening. You have not earned it. I have."
Well, I will say you're going to be in for a real treat with the weather discrepancies, because I looked at San Diego and it seems to be in the 70s and the 80s this week and next week. So I don't know for when we go, but it looks like it'll be pretty nice weather. and it is quickly cooling down here. So you're going to come to Minneapolis, and I think it's going to be a complete 180. I don't know how cold it'll be yet. They don't forecast that far in advance, but we have had days in the 30s in the morning, which is about as cold as it ever got for me the last 8 winters.
It does make it tougher. Previously I would do the California leg and then the Arizona leg, and that did allow me to fundamentally pack pretty much the same clothing. And now I am having to pack, like I have to bring a much bigger suitcase because I do need to bring 2 completely different wardrobes. Like in the very least, I need a big jacket.
A big jacket, yeah.
And
you need an okay jacket and and a sweatshirt.
Yes,
you might need to start layering. I've heard the word layering thrown out a few times in the past week, so I think it's layering season.
The jacket is the thing, and that takes up space in the bag.
But I mean, I think you just roll with the only thing you pack winter related or cold related is the jacket, and then you just go all in on merch, winter merch all week.
I do have to factor in that I probably will buy at least one bar or brewery sweatshirt, so that takes care of that.
A day.
A hoodie can definitely get bought.
At least one a day. If we do a bar crawl, you might come back with 4 sweatshirts that day.
Maybe I'll leave nude, come back fully dressed.
The problem, so I've been to a good amount of breweries so far. The merch is decent, but there isn't a spot yet that I'm trying to think. I don't think there's a spot yet that I've been to that I've been blown away. Like, oh, every time I come here, I'm probably going to have to buy a new t-shirt. So you might be okay. But sweatshirts are a different game because I don't really ever buy sweatshirts.
I mean, I probably won't buy a sweatshirt, but
I'm sure you will.
But yeah, I've already got my Breeders' Cup t-shirt picked out.
What do you mean?
I went online and looked at their merch.
Man, you are a merch queen.
I just happened. It was when I was looking. They sent me an email about
I just happened to look every day until I found the one I liked.
I've already ordered it, okay? I'm wearing it to the day.
You're going to walk in, they're going to scan your ticket, and be like, oh, Mr. Hewitt, all of your merchandise is already loaded into your car. We've rented a car for you and loaded it with your purchases.
Actually, we're giving you the car.
It's a Breeders' Cup car. You spend so much money, you get a free Breeders' Cup car.
I did try and pull that yesterday. Yesterday, I went into one store and I bought a jacket, and then also bought a gift for someone and one other small thing. My first purchase was reasonable. And then I left and I came back in 10 minutes later because there's something else I'd seen, and I decided actually I'm going to get it. So I came back in and I got another jacket. And when I went to pay for it, and the woman there, I was like, is there any kind of little discount for my bulk buy here? And she just laughed at me. So that was a firm no, but it was worth asking. You never know. You never know if you're like, I'm definitely your best customer of the month, I'm going to guess. So is there any kind of leeway here? But no.
And unfortunately, sometimes places too will give you, like, when you buy something, they'll give you like a 10% off for your next purchase.
Yes,
like next time you come in.
You never know. She might have been able to say, oh yeah. You qualify now for this. Or check, if you give me your email quickly, you get 10% off your second purchase. But yeah, there was nothing.
Yeah. That is a little unfortunate. All right. I guess with that, we'll call it a day, and I'll kick you off here early so you can go watch Task.
Sounds good.
I'll talk to you later.
See ya.
Cheerio.